Chairman of the Delhi School of Professional Studies and former Professor, Head and Dean, Delhi School of Economics, a very learned professor who has been a guiding spirit for most of the people in field of management studies and otherwise. Mr. Swan, who very ably explained his understandings and experiences, how the innovative ways have brought in a good deal of changes in organizations and what is expected from individuals who go and work as professionals. Professor Jha, Director of the School of Management Studies, fellow colleagues, professors of this institution and other institutions, delegates who have come a long way to attend this international conference, and students who may be sitting here to learn a few things that are of importance for their field. When I look at this topic that we are to talk about today, when we talk about innovation and skills, we are factually talking about people, how people acquire such skills and how they nurture their mental faculty to be able to translate into action the innate potential that they have. Innovation is not invention. Innovation is one of simpler things that we keep doing very often in our daily routines, but when it comes to our actions as a professional or a person who has to deliver goods in some organization, we may not be able to do it because we are educated not to do innovation. We are educated to repeat whatever we have been told, that's how it happens. I will give you a small example of innovation, and then I would tell you what is my understanding of how innovations can be built in while delivering the education and by the people who acquire education and later practice in their professional lives. Washing machine, everybody knows, are used to wash clothes, and it occurred to mind of some restaurant owner there in Punjab that it can be purposefully utilized for making lassi also. The machine was not designed for making lassi. The machine was designed only to wash clothes, not even for washing utensils. So it had no relationship, direct or indirect, with the processes that are carried out in kitchen or in a restaurant. So that is the idea of innovation. People have been doing things in some one domain of activities in particular ways. You keenly observe something happening elsewhere and you bring in that knowledge, process, style, mechanism, and make use of the same thing in the given scenario where you are trying to be active in terms of a person who is responsible for carrying out the processes. How does it happen? If I look at skill, similarly, again, we are born with innate skills. We know how to please people. A very nascent, small, just born child within 2-3 days learns how to amuse you, how to please you. Even the small child knows. It will throw a smile when you go nearer to a child. So we are nicely trained for skills that are needed for various purposes. And again the problem is that people talk very often whether the skills should be taught as part of the educational curriculum or it has to be done separately, either by visiting some professional school, separate professional school for skill development, or it should be done outside the classroom in the institution itself, or there should be some way of giving the skill training during the schooling that we take initially. Factually in the school we learn how to learn, and later in the colleges we learn that may be useful for delivering functionality in the professional field. There are two types of skills that are normally talked about. There are machine-oriented skills, means the skills to operate machines and do wonders, and there are skills that are non-machine-oriented skills, like the cobbler, मोची जो काम करता है वो भी स्किल है. इसीलिए मोची लोग बीमार नहीं होते हैं, because they know that they would be sitting on any crossroad and they would be able to learn their livelihood. The problem is with those people who do not have skills, and because of their skills they always live a life of a worried person, because if you lose a job you don't know what to do the next. So having skills is very important, whatever type of skill it may be. So how does one go for, and the other important word is the sustainable perspective. What is sustainability? In case of development, you may have studied very nicely and you may be aware about it, that the model of the development that we talk about is a misnomer, because the mere success of the development would result in failure of the society. So if the development succeeds, the environment would be gone. If the development succeeds, then human relations would be gone. If the development succeeds, nothing would remain. What sustainability means, that in case of development, that if you are trying to fuel development by certain methodologies and mechanisms, then it should provide newer opportunities of development and more development should occur. And the results of failure of the society or the existence should not be observable. So when we talk about a sustainable approach, what we mean, that when we train in terms of innovations and skills, then people should be able to innovate still further. It is not that one learns one type of innovation and ends up doing the same innovation throughout the life. So how does one learn how to innovate? How does one learn how to acquire newer skills? I think that is the topic when we combine all the things together. Are there certain newer things happening in the world through which this type of sustainability is possible? This would bring me to the work that any professional carries out. A professional can be, a teacher is also a professional. Teaching is our profession. So we are there to do hand-holding of students so that they can learn to learn, so that they can learn newer things throughout their life. I mean, we don't practice the same science and engineering that we learned when we were students, but we learn how to learn, so we are able to learn newer things also that are coming today. And that is what is my role as a professional, to equip the young minds with such type of knowledge, and more so intellect, the mechanisms of intellect, so as to be able to learn how to learn and be happy throughout of life and keep learning. If the learning helps me only in acquirement of knowledge, something that has been created by others, then possibly it does not give scope for innovation. How do we bring innovation? How do we bring this type of understanding in studies of subjects? What we would say, that people are expected to design newer and newer systems. These may be social systems, these may be organizational systems, these may be engineering systems. Every now and then, either we create a new system or we participate in a new system, we generate a new system, or we maintain a new system. That is the work that every professional keeps engaging herself throughout her life. So what are the various quality concerns that a professional should have in mind while either evaluating a system or while participating in designing a new system, or even if you are part of a system, then how do you innovate? How do you at least be able to identify and spot innovation wherever it is, and how these innovations are carried out? That is what is the talk that we should have in mind while discussing the idea that we are talking about here. There are obviously certain quality concerns that are there in the mind. There are two types of quality concerns that we should worry about. One is the quality related to the functionality that the system has to deliver. Every system is required to deliver some functionality. Like if it is an educational system, it should be able to admit students, process knowledge in terms of dissemination of knowledge. It should create a new knowledge if it is an educational system, disseminate new knowledge, and obviously acquire new knowledge from whatever sources it is available. What would be the meaning of the word system per se? What is a system? You see, when you get admitted into a new institution and you show your letter, if everybody recognizes you that you are a new student, if you go to the hostel, you are given a hostel room. If you come to the classroom, the teacher recognizes you that you are a student and you are seated properly in the classroom, and examinations are carried out for you, everything. It is a good thing. But if you come to the institution with your admission card, and you show it and nobody recognizes you, then what would you say? कि यहाँ का system ठीक नहीं है. So the idea is, any collection of entities or any aggregate of entities, if the collection of entities does have the possibility of all the entities working collaboratively to deliver and depict commonly acceptable and definable behavior of the aggregate, then this is known as a system. Any element or component in the system that does not contribute towards depiction or delivery of the definable functionality and behavior of the system does not merit to be part of that system. So that is the type of system that we are talking about. And as I said, that any system does have its functionality that it has to deliver, and most of the methods that are taught anywhere, they are related only to the functionality that needs to be delivered. The non-functional quality concerns are normally not given the due importance, or they are given the second grade treatment. You can view a few research papers that are there, a few of our research papers also on this topic, that how the non-functional quality concerns are given second grade treatment, or they take backseat. And most of the time, the systems that are designed and made use of, they are not acceptable because they do not have any provision for the non-functional quality concerns. You design a new university, everybody knows that university should admit students, conduct examinations, and produce minds. Those would be useful for organizations that are there in the society. But what would happen is that the university would produce people that may not be employable. So you see, Functionality wise, they know the subjects that you have taught, they scored 60% marks. The students are also astonished. I did well. I studied everything that was taught. I answered the questions in the examination. But when I am coming out, people say that university has not done a good job or the students have not done good a job. So what goes wrong? That is what happens with the systems, that there is something, the functionality means admitting people, conducting classes, conducting examinations, and churning out more and more graduates from the portals of the institution. That is what is known as functionality. Let us try to look at non-functional concerns that are there from the engineering systems point of view, and the same is true for social systems as well. Performance is one characteristic. How do you perform? So when you talk about an institution, if you produce graduates that are acceptable for higher studies by other institutions, that are acceptable for employing people for doing work in the organizations, etc., so there can be good number of performance indices that can be worked out. So it is not the functionality, the business that you have to carry out, but how well you do it. The performance is another important characteristic. Apart from performance, the other important characteristics that we study in engineering systems, that is known as dependability. How dependable the system is. So performance, dependability, all these things are known as non-functional quality concerns. They are not related to functionality. What we mean thereby is that if you design a system, if you make a system, you can have a system without worrying about the dependability. You can make a system without worrying about the performance, something that has happened with universities, with institutions. You can make an institution. Don't worry about its performance. Don't worry about its dependability. You will have a system, you will have an institution, you will have an organization. But those who do put in their own money, they think about performance and dependability, whether you can depend or not. What are the various things that are part of the dependability? If you look at engineering systems, everybody would be taught that reliability is a very important non-functional quality concern. Reliability is first of them. Normally when we talk about dependability, we talk about reliability, availability, security and safety. I will give small examples of this, that how these things are related and how these things can be integrated in the design of the system. Normally what happens, that you design a system and after the system has been implemented, then you start thinking about its dependability. If dependability is an afterthought, if performance is an afterthought, then you would require to re-engineer the system. And re-engineering the system is not an easy job. If you have already made a system, and if the system has already worked for some time, then re-engineering that system is a very difficult task, and mostly what would happen is that you would feel like throwing away the system and creating a new one. And that is why, if these non-functional quality concerns take back seat, or if they are given second-grade treatment, then it goes against the interest of the system and they should be brought in the thing. What is reliability? Who is a reliable person? What is the reliable product? What is the reliable system? The definition is simple, because every student would learn the definition, appear in the examination, and finally may not use while designing an engineering system. And there it will be taught that reliability is the probability that it will perform as per specification for a specified duration of time under specified conditions, provided it was operational at time t equal to 0. That's all. Reliability is factually the probability of the failure-free operation. It is probability of the failure-free operation, that for certain duration of time it will not experience any failure. And the problem is, whenever you design a new system, nobody can for any social system or any system can design a system that will not experience failure. The question comes, how to design a system that can deliver performance, even when the faults are there. even the failures are possible. And engineers study it as fault-tolerant system. How do you design a system that can tolerate failures? It can deliver performance even in the presence of failures. The same is true for organizations also. The same is true for processes also. When you design a process, there is a possibility of bringing in the ideas of fault tolerance. I will give you a small example that what it is, fault tolerance. And we can take the example of the human body itself, how the nature has designed this human body so that it is fault tolerant. So what they did, what nature did, nature analyzed that what is the essential most part of the human body that should never fail. If the essential most part would fail, immediately the whole human body is gone. So the nature identified two essential parts of the human body, the heart and the brain. So what it did hide the heart behind the ribs. कि अगर आप कहीं गिरे तो आपकी हड्डी पसली भले टूट जाए, दिल ना टूटे. हालांकि लोग वैसे भी दिल तोड़ लिया करते हैं. That is a different case. And similarly the case of brain. The brain has been floated in a liquid, so that if you hit your head against a wall or somewhere, then the brain can float a little more, but it will not hit the cranium. But if you manage to hit your head nicely so that the brain can hit the cranium also, then obviously the brain is gone, one can have hemorrhage, etc. So what the nature did, the essential most items of the body were identified, and they were made of the best possible material. The heart and the brain both, the best possible material that the nature had. Nature made use of the best possible material to create these things. It gave the morphology, the shape in such a fashion so that it can deliver its functionality because of the functional architecture that is provided for its functioning. Although it has got left and right ventricles, but it is one thing, integrated thing. It is not divided in two parts for two activities. The one and the same part does both the activities. Then nature analyzed what are those parts of the human body that cannot be hidden, that can never be put inside body somewhere for protection, but they are important. So it found eyes are our IO devices. It is input also and output also, because people can read your eyes, right? It has to interact with the external world. Rain should be there, storm should be there, dust storm should be there. So what God did, the nature, if you believe God, in God, then you can consider God or you can consider nature. Both are equally great and possibly the same. So what it did, it provided a sort of redundancy. Instead of giving one eye, we are given two eyes, and we have got a wider angle of view. We can view more with two eyes. But even if one eye is gone, even then there is a possibility of surviving. I mean, you can still view what is happening elsewhere. So what they did, that instead of thinking of only functionality, they thought about the non-functional quality concern also, enhanced the functionality, and at the same time more reliability is also provided. There are other things also that are related to this. So there is a method by which even in presence of fault a system can deliver performance, and innovations are very important. As I am saying, that you learn from how human body is designed and make use of the same thing in engineering applications. You learn from engineering applications and from human body and make use of the ideas in the organization. That is what is the idea of innovation. What I am driving point home is that by considering the non-functional quality concerns, it is possible to bring in innovation. I am aware of my responsibility that I should not take too much of time. So, next thing, as I said, in dependability is availability. Many a times you could come across a system that where with 99% availability. What is this availability? You see, when we talk about reliability, then we are talking about failure-free operation. We don't want to tolerate even a single failure. That is what is reliability. It should be operational at time t equal to 0 to some time t. So we have defined that some time t for say 2 years or 5 years, we would like the system not to fail. But there are systems, normally there cannot be standalone systems. Systems are there in which you have got multiple parts, and those multiple parts may not necessarily be juxtaposed at one position. They may be lying, or they may have an architecture or organization because of which the different subsystems or parts may be lying at different places, and you have to connect them properly. Like if you have got a software system, a part of which runs on machine A, and other parts are running on machines B, C, D, E, etc. And those machines are lying at different places in the same building, or in some other building, or in some other city, or maybe in some other country. Similar is the case of institutions also. You have one institution here and the other in the Lucknow, and both are connected by a road. So what we teach in computer-based systems, that if you have got a system that has got distributed entities at various places, and those entities, when they are connected with each other, you can ensure the reliability of the individual subsystems and components. But the interconnecting joints have very frail reliability. They are failure prone heavily. So what will happen is, here we talk about availability. The idea of the availability is that we allow a system, or rather we accept that the system would be experiencing failures. What we would like to be there, that the system would be able to revive itself. System would be able to recover from failure. There would be a possibility of reviving itself. So what this capability requires, that the system should be able to identify that a failure has occurred, that is first thing. System should be able to reorganize itself, to energize some redundant unit, etc., so that the failure can be compensated for, and the functionality could be delivered as per specification. A very simple example is that we have power supply coming from electrical powerhouses. We have secondary power source like generator, etc., and we can have a mechanism so that as and when the electric power supply goes off, the switch over is instant, so that immediately it takes over. The idea is, whenever there is some system or device that fails, we can clock something that is known as time to failure. Suppose the device was operational, it works for some small time t1 and failed. So this duration from 0 to t1, this t1, we can call is time to first failure. Now the first failure has occurred, the system would take some time to recover. So from time t1 to tau1, we can call the duration taken for recovering from the failure, or for revival of the system to functional level. This can be talked as time to recovery. Now if you take all occurrences of time to failures and time to recoveries, you can find out something known as mean time to failure, and something, the other thing, the mean time to recovery. Now this, if mean time to recovery or revival is shortened, if you make it almost 0, then your system would become almost as a reliable system, because the failure would not be experienced. Right? The other method of making a system highly available is to elongate the reliability itself. So if reliability was 0 to t1, if you elongate it to become 0 to capital T, then there is a failure-free operation. Then it will fail, and you will have sufficient time to repair, because you may afford to have some failure at some point of time. So this is another characteristic known as availability. These are non-functional quality concerns, and that is where innovations are brought in. You will have examples in other domains of activities, in other professional domains, and you can learn about the mechanisms there, and you can bring in your systems, maybe even business systems. It can be any domain of working, even in families these things could be practiced, that how do you revival or recover, because the main patience, दुनिया में सबसे बड़ा धैर्य उसी को कहते हैं, उसको नहीं कहते हैं कि जब आपका सब अच्छा हो रहा हो, जब आपका अपना मकान बनाया हुआ जल रहा हो और आप खड़े होकर सोच रहे हो कि अगला कैसे बनाएंगे, छाती पीटने की जगह, तब उस व्यक्ति को धैर्यवान कहते हैं. That is what is the system. When it has failed, it works for recovery from the failure rather than crying or weeping on failure. If the system can do that, then the system is highly available system. Security, safety is another concern. What is safety? Safety of a system, what it means is that you can identify a system to be operating within this specification and not having any threat of not being able to either perform, like you design a building and fire may occur, you design some institution somewhere, organization somewhere, and nearby some riot etc. may take place. So how do you work for safety in the systems? So identifying the possibilistic models of a system entering into the unsafe state and keeping these concerns in mind and designing the system in the beginning itself for safety as a non-functional concern. So what I said in the beginning, if these non-functional quality concerns are given second grade treatment and they take the back seat, and if you design a system, then modifying the system and integrating or bringing in the non-functional quality concerns is not possible. And the only possibility is to throw away the design system and design afresh. Now, a great deal of work is being done in engineering sciences in this area. The systems that are being designed elsewhere, they are also being talked about. Like if you want to convert a city like Varanasi into a smart city, there is a great difficulty because first it should become a city. Then you can talk about a smart city. As long as it is not a city, it doesn't become a smart city. Yesterday I was giving example what is a smart city and what is a smart person. Who is a smart? When am I smart? I am smart if I am there in the classroom and my students feel that I am only a teacher, nothing else. I was born as a teacher, as if only with this height, with this type of persona, with this type of delivery, with this type of understanding, and I didn't do any other work in my life. I do only this work when I am there in the classroom. When I go back to my residence, children in the family would feel that I am only born for parenting, no other work. I don't know anything else. It should not happen that I come back from my department and all the kids are frightened in the house because I would shout at them कि भाई चुप रहो, बात मत करो, इसमें दिमाग ठीक नहीं है, तबीयत ठीक नहीं है. If I cannot switch from that teacher mode to parenting mode, when I go to my mother, I should become a kid even in the age of 55 years. So that mother feels that here is only a kid. When I go to my wife, I am husband, that's all. Not a teacher. Otherwise you would be nicely scolded. That is what is being smart. If I can do it, I am smart. Smartness does not come because I have a good attire and good tie that somebody purchased for me. That does not bring smartness. That is why your phone is also smart. Because if you want, it becomes a theater. You can watch movie. It becomes email service provider if you want to read emails, if you want to talk. So it is not only phone. Although, so I am known as a professor, but I am everything. I am son of my parents, I am a husband of my wife, and parent or grandparent for all the children that are there in the family. So if that is what is true for a city also. The cities, they never considered the non-functional quality concern. When a city would be smart, like when the city knows The technology cannot make the city smart. People would make, technology is an enabler. Suppose when the city would be smart, when all the school and college going students would feel that this city has been designed only for us. It works only for us. As if it is only for students. So what would happen? That if people know that at 2 p.m. all the school buses and college buses would be there on the street, everybody keeps off from the road. Nobody goes onto the road. So that safely and properly kids, boys and girls, students are transported to their home place. How technology can enable? Everybody has a smartphone. So if the students have been abruptly closed at some point of time when they are never closed, say at 11, the schools open at 8, but they are closed at 11 instead of being closed at 2 p.m. So immediately everybody would know on a smartphone that suddenly schools have got closed because of some reason, please keep off the road. And everybody goes and keeps off the road. Similarly, for all the business people, they would understand the city has been designed only for them, all the facilities that they require. If I am a professional, if I am a professor in the university, and if somebody falls sick in my family, and the city takes care of, they come to know first before me. They provide the best treatment in the hospital, and at the office table I am informed that things have been taken care of. Then city is smart for me. As if the whole city is working for me. That is the idea of smartness. So if you think about the ideas of not only functionality, but the various types of possibility of these services being available, the services being reliable, the failures being compensated for with the fault tolerance mechanisms, etc. The safety considerations being taken care of, the security concerns being taken care of. So the non-functional quality concerns more spoil the things as a city or a system than the functionality concerns if they are not working. If something doesn't function, people are not worried because people know that things may fail. We have got parents, when they age, we know that they will fall sick. That is not a problem. But as a family we fail, or our city fails us when we are unable to take care of the failure that happens in one component of the system that we have. So these are certain things, and how these things are done. Factually, whenever we design a system or environment, I think I have taken my 30 minutes. There are a few more things, but I think I would stop at this. There are a few more things that one could talk about and bring in the ideas of. So the idea is that innovations and skills, they are very much related to the non-functional quality concerns. So my understanding is that it is better to talk about non-functional quality concerns whenever we teach a new item. Whenever you teach about designing the organizational structure, when you talk about the devising of a new market force, wherever you talk, if you do not talk only about the functionality but bring in the non-functional issues also, the non-functional concerns, and they are not being taken up as an afterthought, means they are being taken along with the functionality that needs to be designed in the beginning itself, then we are likely to encourage the practice of innovative activities and innovative actions and the possibility of acquiring the skill. As I said in the beginning, we are born as innovation seeker and skill seekers. Even a small child knows how to please the person who is standing by the side of the child. So we are ready to learn innovation and skill, but our educational system fails us. Our methods of delivering the education that does not provide the possibilities of thinking of something known as non-functional quality concerns or requirements. We keep concentrating only on the functionality, because of which it becomes monotonous, because of which it becomes mundane, and people lose interest. They only pass examinations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward, I would request one of the legends in the field of management education to shower his blessings on us. Professor Singh has the distinction of holding office of Executive Vice President of India Commerce Association for 3 consecutive terms of 3 years and was given the singular honor of Dean President of ICA. Presently, he is the chairman of Delhi School of Professional Studies and Research, Rohini, which is affiliated to Indraprastha University, New Delhi. Sir, please.